So, how to loosen up? That is the thing that I get asked most of all on this channel, on my Instagram, and when I'm doing art teaching. And here's a little lesson on how to loosen up your watercolours. When we say loose, we mean expressive, we mean flowing, we mean less about the exact reference or scene, more about the emotions and the fun and the process surrounding getting that scene on the page. This lesson is a little snippet, a little part of my most recent Skillshare class, which is called 5 Exercises to Loosen Up Your Urban Sketching. If you want to join me for that full class, there's a link, an affiliate link below. It gets you a month off a year's membership. Of course, I also get a little fee from that as well because it's an affiliate link. If you don't want to join me, that is fine. Of course, stay here with me on YouTube and I will continue to release loads and loads of free stuff here as well. Thanks very much and let's get sketching. So, time to find our colours, get our palette out and add some flowing, beautiful colours to our sketch. Now, before we jump into the big sketch, let's again do a little simple exercise. So here you can see a couple of patches of water and look at those amazing patterns if we just touch our colour in. So there's a bit of cobalt blue and look at it just push its way around our patch of water. This is some indigo and see how that has a slightly different response and a different interaction. It works with all our colours. This is some Scarlet Lake and on top of it a bit of something called Cascade Green. And what I find fascinating is how even just flicks of colour, flicks of pigment can really create amazing effects. Effects we can't purposefully produce but can control and influence. We can experiment as well. If we create a patch of colour, we can add more colour within that. And notice how the blue kind of pushes the red out the way. So not just interacting with the water, our pigments will interact with each other. And we can reverse the whole process. We can add water on top of pigment and the water will then push the pigment away. And through this, we can create all sorts of really fascinating techniques. And these techniques, these textures are totally unique to watercolour. Only with watercolour can we get this kind of look. And that's what I love celebrating in my loose sketching. I love celebrating the unique qualities of watercolour. So how are we going to do that? Well, like I say, I like celebrating the unique qualities of watercolour, but I want it to be representative within the image, not necessarily exactly the image, but taking hints from the image, but also from my mood or how I felt or what the weather was like, or perhaps even just what my favourite colour was. Here what I've done is I've filled the page with water, but I've kept lots of it blank, and we'll have a look at the importance of that in one of the next lessons, all about being bold with negative space. I then go, well, there's quite a nice blue sky, but there's also some glows in this image. So let's start with a cool blue, cobalt blue, and let's layer in a little bit of orange, this time transparent pyrrole orange. But in the back, it's quite murky. So let's see what happens if we add a bit of green, which will form a quite neutral brown colour with all these in the mix. And then these colours will just move, they'll do their own thing, but I can push them around a bit, create some of those lovely swirls. Having seen them move for a while, we kind of get an idea of where they've ended up, and we can then add a bit more, make things a bit bolder, push them out the way, add a bit more water to create areas of light. Up at the top I added a bit of indigo just to create a bit of drama in the sky, and then I'm going to use this same indigo in these little spots where I want some deep shadows. And you can see, squint your eyes, look at the reference, you'll find the darkest areas and the lightest areas quickly emerge. And sometimes we want to show that. It can create a fun idea of, using our bold colours to also highlight certain areas of interest. And again, this is something you could keep going and touching and moving, and sometimes I spend half an hour doing this, sometimes I spend 3 or 5 minutes doing it. But the idea is just to explore how that watercolour can be representative of your scene, how different splashes and sploshes, how different areas of colour and space can create something really beautiful which represents the scene but isn't a tight, perfect sketch. For me, this kind of sketching is really fun and really lovely. What would be great is if you had a go, just try a still life, even an apple done in slightly different colours, or perhaps take the actual urban sketch you might have tried from the last lesson, splash some colour on, be brave with water and gentle with the pigment, and you'll find you can very quickly create something really pretty. We'll have a little look in one of the upcoming lessons about being bold with negative space. For now, just remember, leave a bit of white. You don't want to necessarily cover the whole page. We can always come back and cover it later. But most of all, have a bit of fun and let your colours paint themselves.